So one of the cameras that's been my go-to over the years has been the DJI Osmo Pocket. And in the fall of this year, I started getting a gimbal protected tap to resume error on the screen of the little camera, and looked online and tried to figure out if there was a way to correct it. And it didn't really seem to be anything, especially from DJI, that would fix the problem. And tried a couple of the hacks that were online just to see if I could get the issue to resolve itself, and it wouldn't do it. So instead of just replacing the DJI with a new Osmo Pocket, I think they're up to the version 3 now, I thought, what the heck, I'm going to go ahead and try something new. So I went ahead and got an Insta360 camera, their newest offering, which is the X4. If you're not familiar with Insta360, it basically allows you to reframe your image basically around a 360-degree axis, which is pretty cool. You have seen these online in videos, especially sports photography. They're becoming very popular, but I had honestly never tried it before. So I decided I'd go ahead and take it for a spin. When I bought the camera, I bought the road bike handlebar mount, and all the images you're seeing is with the Insta360 X4 mounted to my handlebars. I was very curious about the stability of the image. You can see here it's going on a dirt path, which was not that smooth, and yet the image is exceptionally stable. I was very impressed with the stability. Even though the camera tells me not to take it on a bumpy road, it seemed to handle all the terrain that I did on this day's ride with no problems at all. I was filming at 5.7K, 24 frames a second. I should have probably been filming at 30 frames a second, but that's quibbling over some minor details. The color is, I think, exceptional. The image clarity is exceptional. And the fun feature here is that you can reframe and get all sorts of different effects right from the editing software, which is free to download from Insta360. So was very impressed with that. As I'm going through this video, you'll see me reframing the shots. You'll also see some time shift or hyperlapses in some of the segments, and just to play with some of the features that were on the camera. I did take some still images. I think I've got a time shift coming up right here, and I've got another one coming up in a little bit to just give that a test. So there's a time shift there, it slows down again, and then I've got another time shift coming right about here. So I was very impressed. The camera handled everything I threw at it on this first day's ride. It was very fun. It was very easy to use. I was using the voice activated controls, so I was not taking my hands off the handlebars to start and stop the camera. Instead, I would tell it to start recording, and then I would tell it to stop recording, and the camera seemed to accommodate those commands pretty well, although I will admit that in some parts of the ride where the wind was coming head on, it was a little bit noisy, and I think the camera had a little bit of difficulty discerning what I was trying to tell it when I was trying to start or stop the video. But generally speaking, it did a very nice job with the voice commands alone. Editing software allows you to again change the the frame perspective, so you can move left and right, up and down, forward and backward. Um, it's very easy to use. It does rely on what they call keyframes to set where you want the frame to change perspectives, but that's pretty intuitive. It's easy to use. It was easy to download. The software, again, was free from Insta360. There are a series of tutorials that come with the camera on the website that I found to be very user-friendly and very helpful. I've gone through them a couple times now to try and use some of the other features. But again, the camera is remarkably easy to use. I think for anybody who has done any videography at all, not necessarily as a first camera, but certainly as a second or third or fourth camera, the 360 is something that really does add some new features into a videographer's toolkit. So the software that I'm using to edit this video is actually downloaded onto my computer, but you can also download the app of Insta360 for your phone, and it's basically it's very similar. It's just as easy to use. And again, you can change the frame, the perspective that you're looking at, all those types of features off of the phone as well. I find it kind of hard to do that because I got fat fingers, so I prefer to do it on a full desktop computer. In a couple of these shots, you'll see the camera looking back at the handlebars, and you'll see I have a little Garmin computer mounted on the handlebars. But what you're not seeing is the mount of the Insta360. They are very clever in their software and their algorithms in being able to stitch out where the camera is looking back at itself. Right there, you can see I have the Garmin. That is where the mount is for the camera, and yet you do not see that in the frame. They also, with the camera, it usually uses telescoping selfie sticks, for lack of a better term. And when you're holding the selfie stick, again, the camera and the selfie stick are not in the image at all. So thus far, just from one test ride, very impressed with the Insta360 X4. There are all sorts of accessories, of course, available with the X4. One of the ones that I did not get yet, but will probably get in the future, will be the dive casing. The camera itself is waterproof to a certain number of meters below water, but I don't trust that. So if I was going to do any type of underwater photography, which I will be doing in the future, I would certainly get the dive case.